Hi, everybody, and welcome to Red Wings Rant, where tirades and impassioned pleas for your Detroit Red Wings. Winning Detroit Red Wings have a home. Lucas Raymond in overtime on the power play. This power play is absolutely lethal right now. We'll get into some of the numbers I've been taking a look at today for the Detroit Red Wings. But before we get too deep into any of those numbers, holy mackerel, was this frustrating, super fun at the end there, but goddamn, was that frustrating to watch. Jared thrown out there, the Matt show, all Matt, no Mike. We planned on doing a post game. We'll see if Mike joins us. I texted him, let him know I'm getting rolling here the second this game ended, because we want to ride high on these emotions, because man, we're gonna be filling ourselves up tomorrow with a lot of tryptophan, and we're gonna be getting a lot of good sleep tomorrow. But I'm already feeling it right now. I'm already ready to go to bed, but it's always nice to get those OT wins. It wakes you up just a little bit. It's a little bit of ice down the back of your shirt, a little organic ice down the back of your shirt. This game reminded me of these New York Islander games where we do a great job of pushing our opponent to the outside. Calgary's shown that they are a little bit more successful than the Islanders. And one thing I did not appreciate very much, we had some pretty good chances right at the start of the third period, which could have made this 2-0. Of course, we watched 60 minutes plus another 5. And we knew if we could have made that 2-0, we actually would have just gotten this game in regulation. Some chances early, ultimately didn't go in. Just watch this game, and you're pretty much just hoping they can hang on. Not the most fun thing in the world to watch. Hey, Mike, Hermano's made it.
Woo!
Hey, it's okay. We got a light audience tonight. It's just Jared. So it's
Jared.
just the three of us are going to talk about Lucas Raymond putting one in the back of the net.
I do want to talk about Lucas scoring. I do want to talk about Larkin dropping a big deuce to even make this an overtime game. Hey, you guys! Thanks, Jared, for the Goonies. Can I say, was this the best combined efforts of Petrie and Sherratt we've ever seen? I thought they were awesome tonight. I thought they did a great job getting the play out of their zone. There's a few times where Sherratt actually played on the point, got a few shots on net. So I do want to celebrate those two guys. And I don't know if this is going to be a big talking point, but you kind of have to know a little bit about the Detroit Tigers past season for this reference to work. But my God, is Patrick Kane our Kenta Maeda this year? I'm saying, Matt, they look 50 times faster without him on the ice. That's all I'm saying.
I'll say this.
Listen. This show is very excited about Kane. I was very excited because I hadn't bought a Red Wings jersey in about 25 years. I was like, you know what? Kane's going to be my first Red Wing jersey. And now I'm kind of like, well, maybe not. They look better defensively. They look up like they're – I know it was the Islanders. I know it was Calgary who, yes, go ahead and throw their current win-loss record at me. But when I saw the stats going across the page that this team does not, in terms of Calgary, does not score more than 3 goals, and they only score in one of the 3 periods, I'm like, give me some more Calgary Flames games, baby. I want Calgary. I want the Islanders every other night. Maybe throw in a Predators game. But yeah, this is a perfect recipe for the Red Wings to feel good about themselves. So, but yeah, with all those things said, we we looked a little quicker. Our defense actually did look a little better. And was it because we weren't dragging around Patrick Kane? I know that's a hard question, Matt, but is there some credence to that? Or did we just play two kind of poopy teams right in our wheelhouse?
That definitely was something I wanted to touch on today because we're talking about at least in the last how many games here. Since the last 4 games, we've allowed 5 goals. But we are talking about the Islanders, along with us, one of the worst offenses in the league. Boston not doing great. I mean, that's why they are going through their coaching changes. It's just I feel like Calgary though is one where I kind of looked at that and where their record was. I was kind of I was a little more worried about this game, and I'm kind of happy to see, even though there isn't like a name on the Calgary Flames roster that gets you shaking in your boots. I was happy we still walked away from this, but I think it's a very important question to ask and tackle when we go through this, because you could take a look at the standings and like goals for the top teams in the West. Winnipeg's got 89 goals for so far. Vegas Golden Knights have 86. You go down the list, Minnesota's got 71, Dallas has 70, and Calgary, who's also a leader in their division, has 62. So they're clearly not one of the stronger offenses right now
Right.
in the NHL, but they're stronger than the Red Wings, but they're definitely not a powerhouse. So they're actually playing a pretty similar game to the Red Wings right now. And I do have a slide to talk. Oh, not that one. One of these slides talks about it. Here it is. Quality per 5-on-5 shot attempt against. The Red Wings are 31st in this statistic, but I want you to know that's a good thing. The quality per
Was that an
shot
Alanis Morissette
against.
reference? I want you to know the Red Wings aren't as well. They're just as bad as it seems.
Certainly an accidental one, but yeah, like you could see Calgary and Detroit are both in the top 10 on this list of preventing quality offensive chances, not necessarily by volume, quantity, of course, but quality. What they're actually keeping these teams to the outside of their own offensive zones, of course, the Red Wings defensive zone, and we saw it today. I brought this up, and I have a bunch of slides to talk about this specifically, and a few things that relate to how we've been able to do this and limit teams from getting some juicy chances. Is going back to the beginning of the season. We were talking about the analysis of the Cam Talbot signing with Jesse Granger, who's like the goaltender guru and expert with the Athletic. And he said the Red Wings give up a ton of chances. They give up juicy chances. This Cam Talbot signing is not going to work because the LA Kings are one of the best teams in the league at maybe allowing chance, but stifling the quality. And now the Red Wings are second best in the league at doing so. And it's kind of shown with this number here. Cam Talbot, number 3 in the league for starting goalies, goals saved above expected per 60. So Cam Talbot doing exactly what he was doing last year for the LA Kings, because we're now in front of him, giving him the same looking team defense that he was getting from the Kings. So look, I know you came in hot with the Patrick Kane. It's like the Patrick Kane defense. It's
Patrick Kane offensive.
Yeah.
There used to be the Patrick Kane offense. Now it's the Patrick Kane offensive. Yeah, I did want to hit a few comments here.
Yeah.
Basically, Ketzel in lockstep with us, saying, "I've been on the Begone Kane train since Game 10." Yeah, it's like, I don't know if he's playing hurt. He's playing what his age is. It is not the same Showtime that we saw last year. Dan B liking our Tiger analogy for potentially Kenta Maeda. Is he the Javi Baez? Yeah. I mean, it's again, Dan. I think it's 2 games against teams that are our peers, not like Winnipeg Jets. We suddenly look good because Big Debo 72. Welcome, Big. Definitely bringing the truth, saying the offense still broken. 100%. We scored 1 goal in regulation. But Big Debo continues. Feels like every time we win, we're beating up the short bus kids. Big Debo, hats off for getting an attempt at politically correct. We know exactly what you're talking about, bud. We know exactly what you mean. And basically wrapping it up, offense never looks good. And then a couple points in here about Tyler Mott. Jared Thurnin, I like Mott. Dude knows his role. Ketzel again. Mott is vital to our penalty kill. Provides some extra grit at 5-on-5. And Dan B, doing a little Derek Lalone request here. Okay, boys, 1 extra serving of stuffing tomorrow. But Dan B saying, I also rode a short bus occasionally. Yeah, it's probably a less bumpy ride, so that's not so bad, right? Probably got extra field trips. That's not so bad.
So I just I wanted to point out too, real quick, as we're sort of patting ourselves on the back as Red Wings fans for the Red Wings on their behalf. That's whose back we're
Red Wings
patting.
Rant is nothing if not patting themselves on the back. Yeah.
Well, I guess what I mean to say is that we're sitting here touting this defense. But I think you called into question, right from the beginning. You called the right question out, because not only, I mean, the Red Wings are the worst 5-on-5 offense, but nipping at their heels is Boston, nipping at their heels is Calgary, and nipping at their heels is the Islanders. So for sure, we accomplished some winning hockey tonight. Don't get us wrong, but it has to be taken with a grain of salt of how successful this defense was, because the rest of the NHL has been successful against these offenses recently. But I mean, what happened though? What happened? We kept Calgary to the outside. They couldn't really get any chances until that late power play, which just felt like that was coming. But they did it. That was the game they played. Good job, Red Wings. Also, the rest of the NHL has been able to do that to Calgary, New York, and Boston so far this season. So we will wait till the New Jersey game, which should be quite the challenge to figure out what happens. Let me pull up New Jersey's numbers just so we can figure out, is this going to be a real test for us? And as we talked about some bottom 5 offenses, New Jersey at least is middling, 14th in the league in 5-on-5 goals for, almost a top 10 team in expected goals for 5-on-5. But defensively, they're killers. PK's fantastic. 5-on-5 expected goals against is fantastic. They're at the top of the league. So that's going to present a problem, I think, coming up.
I'll say one of the best games we played all season was against New Jersey, which I was in attendance for. So I'm looking forward to that rematch. And then Vancouver is a shade better than us. They're like a whole tier goal scoring wise. But Boston is right there with us, with just complete offensive ineptitude. They're at 24 games played, 57 goals. Red Wings at 22 and 55. So that's another team kind of in our wheelhouse. So if we could play as well against New Jersey as we did earlier in the year, see what happens with Vancouver and then Boston. It's like looking in the mirror, and can you defeat your reflection? So that's kind of what we got coming up here in the next couple games. I do like that Jared reminded us that every goal tonight was on the power play for these 2 inept offenses when there's 5-on-5 play. And Jared, you are absolutely correct to point that out. This was a watchable game for me. I don't know if you agree with me, Matt, but it felt like the time of possession in the offensive zone, at least the first couple periods, it looked really good for us. It was something to pay attention to. We weren't just constantly on our heels with turnovers. Did you feel like this game had some watchability for you?
I mean, I would come back to the watching this, and I didn't enjoy that there were some chances early in the third for us to kind of put this away, especially with how we were playing defensively. And it just didn't happen. And like the inevitable, like I just mentioned, was that power play goal at the end of the third period to tie it up. It's one of those things, and it becomes inevitable. It becomes like the okay, well, when is this going to happen sort of conversation? Because I mean, I'm just getting used to it this year. It's just like there isn't enough offense to put any of these games away. And it was the style of game we played tonight, and it was also just talent going from an amazing pass from Andrew Kopp over to across the crease, Christian Fischer, who just plows the puck right into Vladar's pads, and we just keep moving. Man, and yeah, God, this I love what we're seeing so far from Berggren and Casper, but there's an odd man rush, and Berggren's got the puck out in front of the net, and he clearly can't get control of it. Casper's coming in right behind him, but Berggren goes for the shot, right? And it's just one of those things where a couple minutes earlier, Ben Sherratt and Lucas Raymond are going back and forth, and Sherratt passes up the wide open shot and
Oh,
goes
that
for a
killed
pass
me.
to Dylan
Oh, that
Larkin,
killed me.
and you
Yeah.
get mad, but it's like,
I was
it's
drunk guy in the stands on my own couch. Shoot it! Shoot it! To
but
Noah
it's
Gale. They
right.
didn't hear.
But like a good team, they're making the right choices there, and it still feels like maybe we're close to the right play being available at the right time, because again, Berggren passes back to Casper, maybe it's 2-0. Sherratt goes for that shot instead of a pass, maybe it's 2-0. But neither one of those happened the way that we needed them to, and it's just another one of those conversations about bounces not going your way. And yeah, I don't know if it's a I can't decide, because the way that we definitely weren't pushing hard on the forecheck like the last 10 minutes of that game, and we were this is Mike, as much as you felt that game was watchable, I felt like the last 10 minutes before that power play for Calgary was just dump and chase on both sides of the ice. Calgary
Yeah,
doing it,
I
and then
mean
Detroit doing it,
when
and
they
I couldn't have
tightened it
been more
up in the third
frustrated.
period, I can take some pushback there, but I'd say the first and second period and the halfway through the third before the Red Wings, they clearly were told stop attempting like scoring chances, just limit them to nothing. Like that was the strategy for the second half of the third period. So, and I just can't believe that I can't believe it was Larkin who got that penalty to make it 1-1. It just reminded me of that episode of The Office when they were at Jim and Pam's wedding and they didn't want Michael to give away that Pam was pregnant, and then Jim gave it away. And then you could just see Larkin in the penalty box, like, I can't believe it was me. I can't believe it wasn't Petrie or Sherratt or the usual suspect. I can't believe it was me. So he really
Yeah.
Jim Halpered it out there in that third period. It was a little scary. I'm glad that we came back and won, but man, that would have been a real bummer if we blew that game. We do have some comments coming in here, Matt, about being bummed for Friday because it looks like Uso's getting the start. So we can just snuff out those good vibes of a 3-game win streak here. People pretty confident that's going to be a wrap for that streak.
I love this from Jared. Larkin gonna bag skate himself. He was devastated in the penalty box. I know last week we talked about it, about the Sean Shapiro call out that the rest of the NHL, they do like those anonymous like GM conversations, and it's off the record, but you can, oh, I was talking to an NHL GM bullshit. And the notion was voiced a few times that they think this team's lacking like a voice. I'm using voice too many times, but like loud leadership But if you're talking about a guy who just loves this team, and man, how about how hard he was flying and skating up and down the ice after giving up that penalty? That's Oh my God, your captain
Oh,
is Dylan Larkin.
yeah.
They could lack a voice, but that's a guy that I know he fucked up,
I
but he
I
cares so goddamn much about this team.
listen. We live in Detroit, and we get to see Dan Campbell with the whole biting kneecaps thing off, right? So I think we have a concrete example of what a team can look like with a loud, rah rah coach. But I think it's still, if you kind of want to go back, 15 years, Jim Leland was saying, yeah, I don't know if I believe in any of that rah rah bullshit. It's just about, well, you got guys who hit the damn ball. So I don't know how much that really matters. The Red Wings just don't have enough guys who hit the damn ball.
I
So
I mean, it has to be said. Like, talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery. Those guys, they got rid of a player in Jamal Williams 2 years ago that I was like, how are they going to live without that guy? He's the culture of the Detroit Lions.
yeah.
And they brought it, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's got some character, but he's not like a loud, you know, uh, it, I don't imagine him like kicking lockers
No,
and
no.
punching
Yeah.
walls, kind of thing. Same with, I mean, Jared Goff. Like, hey, Jared, the whole city's in love with you. How do you feel about that? Yeah, it feels pretty good. We go out there, we try real hard. Yeah, no, but like the entire city, no matter where they're at, they just start chanting your name. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like where this team's headed right now. I'm pretty happy. It's just like that. That's what the players are like on the field for the Lions, and I guess maybe it gets a little more hyped up if you talk about Penei Sewell, but
Ooh, yeah, that's
who's
my guy.
probably the real MVP of the NFL right now. So someday that
If
conversation's
you
got to
guys
change.
see a Panay Sewell jersey in the alternate black, let me know immediately. But other than that, Dan B just attempting a little flirtation. It's not as exciting as a Soderblom call out or call up, but he said, "Why not just Kosa for one game? Let's
Not
do it WWE style, like 10 years ago when Kevin Owens got a call up, to fight John Cena before he went back to NXT. But no, Grand Rapids does incredibly have hockey games scheduled Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
nice.
Back to
Um,
back to back games. Insane.
I think that's a 931 save percentage he's posting right now, leading the AHL. And I'm getting
Okosa?
that from
Yeah.
I'm getting that from Max Boltman's article about he did his how the Red Wings prospects are faring so far.
Ooh,
Axel, he's coming in hot and about to break a record for
I know.
defenseman
They
his
keep having to
age.
give these pragmatic explanations. Well, he'll probably be a Red Wing in like 2 to 3 years. Like, I don't know, man. This dude is cooking. Like, if he comes to Grand Rapids and he peppers in some goals, like,
Yeah. I
there's a spot for him on this team tonight. Like, I don't know about 2 to 3 years down the road.
Yeah, that some of that stuff's really confusing to me, like where Max kind of puts the final statement on some of these. And I know this isn't really what I wanted to bring up, but he's got like quotes from Dan Cleary, and Dan's just like talking about how amazing Pelika is, and then Max is just like, yeah, it'll probably be like 2 to 3 years before he's ready to play, and it's like, I didn't hear Dan
I don't
say
know,
that. What are you
man.
talking about?
We're
What
like a
is?
hot camp away. We saw, Cider and Lucas. It's not completely unheard of.
Yeah.
Um, but Jared Shaw, why did I say your last name? Jesus, Jared, I'm so sorry. I maybe it's just too late here, and I've got my own simple syrup cinnamon Pepsi that I made myself. I made simple syrup cinnamon. Anyway, Jared echoing the ultimate black jerseys are sex. Mm. First name Dixon, last name Cider. I'm not falling for that ever again, Dixon. Asking, when will Tarasenko be back? Do you mean Kane? Thanks, Jared. He thanked Mike Klink. Dixon, what are you talking about? Tarasenko's out there. Did you mean Kane? Because Kane, I don't know. The other conspiracy theory somebody threw to me, it was Man on the Street. Red Wings Rant fan. Matt, is Kane actually hurt, or is this some healthy scratch? We're going to trade you stuff.
I don't know. I thought it was weird how it kind of felt like it was announced and it wasn't really a part of like practice or anything. I just, we saw I saw a tweet that wasn't from like the Red Wings account kind of thing. I thought that was weird. It kind of felt like it was, I don't know. It feels different. I'll say that. That's all I can say. The way that the announcement was made about Kane, and it was kind of put out there as like a maintenance thing, but now we're past maintenance. So I don't know. I don't know. It could be just one of those things where he's just like, I don't think I want to do this. I don't want to be around anymore.
It's just really rough for us because I think the fantasy was, maybe if Kane, maybe he's not happy, we could still trade something for him, but his value has never been lower in his whole career. I mean, he's worth like a 4th round pick right now.
I mean, he wasn't not producing. It's just I don't know if it's working. Like that signing makes sense for what this team looks like it wants to be. Right? Remember all the word this is me giving Yzerman the benefit of the doubt. If you guys heard me this past weekend where our family, Mike and I and our parents and whatnot did Thanksgiving dinner, if you had heard me at that dining room table, this was not me. Everything I'm about to say, it was far
That's you. What are you
away
about
the
to say?
opposite. But if we look at what Steve said and we take him at his word, he did want to create more balance in this roster. And when you take out a Patrick Kane, they've created this ability to use that dump and chase method and have guys in the right spot to play defense in their own zone and prevent those high quality danger chances. Those high danger quality chances. Sorry. And you look at a guy like the measurement, right? Like from the J Fresh player cards, from Top Down Hockey, right? You look at what Patrick Kane brings to the ice. He's a bottom 5%, 5-on-5 forward on the defensive side of the ice. Actually, I think right now too, he's like a bottom 10% on the offensive side of the ice as well.
Yeah, I think.
I just real quick the point being that if you were trying to build this as like this balanced two-way team,
yeah,
Kane doesn't fit with that, with where his hips and legs are at right now. So I just throwing that out there. If we want to give Yzerman the benefit of the doubt, that goes to the benefit of the doubt of his strategy and what he wants the team to be. Could be, I don't know. There's all these stupid stories coming out about like Chris Ilitch was telling Yzerman no on certain things. Maybe it was a Chris Ilitch, like, I need to get Patrick Kane on this team because I need to sell tickets. I don't think any of that shit is true, but I'm just throwing that out there where it's like, okay, Steve wanted to do this. Doesn't make any goddamn sense why he brought in Patrick Kane. But now that Kane's not in the mix, it kind of looks like the team like makes sense for a two-way team that's just going to play real tight and eke out some wins. But go ahead. All right, I'm done.
No,
My point's been made.
No, there's just a couple comments in here. Jim Johnson, welcome, bud. I don't know why I keep saying last names. Jared, you can feel free to call me out every time I do that. You guys need to do more Dan B's, so I just say Dan B instead of the whole last name.
And
but
yet
Jim,
you refuse to announce Dixon Cider every time.
I got you. Good job, Dixon. Jim, just saying. On the line of old guys, Tarasenko had a few chances to score because I know we talked about him for a second here, and then Edvinsson, Matt, quietly scoring at the same rate as Patrick Kane, half a point a game. So both have 20 games played, 10 points apiece, and Tarasenko 20 games played, 8 points. So kind of cool that Edvinsson is doing that. Kind of a bummer that those two guys we were kind of relying on scoring goals are not really doing it yet. Matt, is this question Edvinsson versus Cider if you could only keep one?
I know.
I guess Edvinson. Ooh, did I win?
I was going to show this off today. I was going to talk about how we've been able to prevent scoring chances from
Oh,
our opponent.
before we
And
get too far away from that, I did want to stay on your Kane
yeah,
point
yeah,
for a
yeah,
second
yeah.
because
Okay,
Dan B
okay,
said,
okay.
honestly, I think a lot of us wanted Kane back, including me, Dan. I can't say it enough that I thought this was going to be my next Red Wing jersey. I just didn't know he was. I didn't know he was cooked. Like when he was skating last year, I never thought it was like totally detrimental to the team. Like kind of with what Matt was alluding to, stylistically, like we were kind of playing Kane style. Yeah, he might give up a goal, but I'm going to get one back on you. So we were able to kind of be in games that, if we weren't up 1-0 and turtling for a period and a half, we still had a chance to win. Or God forbid we went down by more than one goal, we could still, yeah, you know what? We'll put up 3 or 4 goals in the third period. Not a big problem for the way that team was structured. Um, so yeah, I don't know if this is like a stylistic, Styles clash. Shout out to AJ Styles there. Um, but yeah, it's these two. It's so tough because this is such a tiny sample size against two poopy teams. But man, it kind of worked. Thank you, Jared, for throwing in first and last name of myself. And then Matt, I don't know how enthused you are about getting some New York Rangers who sound like they want to be um, kind of mixing up their roster a little bit because allegedly Kreider and Truba are on the market.
Yeah.
Um, I think what's tough for that is a lot of a lot of people that I talk to about Red Wing hockey are giving up the classic. What if we give them like Huso and how about Sherrod? So they get a goalie and a defenseman, and we get Truba and Kreider. So they get a goalie. I'm like, why would they ever in hell make that trade? Nobody would ever trade for either of our guys. Those two particular guys. So I guess,
This
Matt,
is
kind of contextually, what you'd have to give up. Do those two names interest you still?
no. Um the
Snuff
funny
that one out. Goodbye, talking point. Go
the
ahead, Matt.
funny I mean the funny thing about this is that you look at a team like the Rangers that are
Yeah.
4 games above 500 at 12-7-1, and we're struggling to like get to 500. And I'm talking about real 500, like win-loss 500.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for this to like really interest me, and I kind of I agree with the Rangers. Like they should be making these decisions. They should be finding more space for Lafreniere to get more minutes, especially while his shooting percentage right now. And I just pulled up the Rangers, so I'm not rattling these off the top of my head. His shooting percentage is like at 18% right now, which is crazy. But I mean, he's got 16 points in 20 games right now. I mean, that's a guy that you should be finding as much space as possible for him. And they're not really struggling too much. But I mean, if you look at the roster, Chris Kreider right now, who else have they been talking about? I know Truba's on there, but Truba they already tried to trade this summer, and he nixed it. He was supposed to be a Detroit Red Wing, if y'all don't remember.
Second time's a charm. Yeah.
I did like Truba's contract is complete ass, and nobody really wants Truba. But I do like that Darren McCarty this past week was like, "Hey, you can't blame Yzerman. He tried to trade for Truba this week," and it's like yeah, asshole, you still can because that trade would have fucking sucked balls this year. What are you talking about?
What a jabron.
Stupid asshole.
Can
Man,
I
he honestly doesn't know what he's talking about. Like even
the
a
less
little
said
bit.
about him, the better. Can
Yeah.
I pat myself on the back here for this this chart? I have not seen this until I'm seeing it with the Red Wings Rant fanatics out there. I have not seen this, but if you'll look, Petrie and Sherratt, top 6, baby. Woo! I called it. See, I knew it. I saw something with my eyes, and it came true on a graph, Matt. That's what I like to see. Beautiful.
Yeah, no, I brought this up because I couldn't wait for
I like
this
when
to
they
get
graph
posted.
my eyeballs.
Yeah, I couldn't wait for Hockey Stat Cards to post this because I knew you were gonna be right.
Yeah.
So I knew you were gonna be right. So
Oh man, cooking the books over there. Speaking of cooking the books, Brian Burton says, "Hey guys, that was a gift with the too many men bow on it." I mean, there was 5 guys on the ice. I'm just saying. I'm saying.
I like Brian. Troubadour ain't coming. Yeah, he's definitely not coming to Detroit, but I don't want him either. So we can just.
I would also say that, speaking of gifts, Larkin have a total brain fart, and doing a little hand swiperoo on the face-off was also kind of a gift for Calgary.
Yeah.
I feel like the hockey gods kind of even that one out.
Ketzel Petrie had the best game of the season. Tough to argue with.
By the way, Red Wings fan club, welcome. Saying hello there. Got a little General Kenobi. So,
oh yeah, he calls out too. Raymond does it again, but also on this chart. But a 4-game goal streak for Raymond. It's been pretty fun to watch. I gotta say,
wow.
If you had any issues with, I don't think anybody did, but if you had any issues with that contract, oh yeah, go ahead.
Jim says the Sherrod Petrie pair were awful tonight. Wow, Jim, you're saying my eyeballs lied and the graph lied. Do you remember some plays that really stuck out? I honestly thought they both had pretty good games. Even Ken Daniels said, Petrie made a couple good plays on the boards, being kind of physical. Sherrod actually had a few shots on goal. I thought it was a pretty decent game. Maybe, was there something that stood out for you that makes you have that comment? I'm just curious. Brian Burton, man, who's so for Trouba? Who says no?
I would play around with Trocheck for Andrew Kopp, and that would be rewriting history for me, where I wanted Trocheck instead of Kopp. That fateful off season. I would fuck around with that, no problem. Give me Trocheck for Kopp, 1-for-1. Let's do a good old hockey trade. Come on. Couple of setters. Come on. Give him Comfort too. Comfort and Kopp. Let's see if New York can figure it out.
Yeah, they used to do that a lot. Like in the NBA, there'd be trades with like top point guards that were just kind of like the style didn't mesh. And it'd be like a 1-for-1. They don't really do that anymore. And Red Wings fan club coming in late, but he did say, "I love Larkin, but man, missing the puck with his hand and then proceeding to swipe it again was something else." And then Dan B saying, "Petrie's best games, like saying best forward Pinto."
That's a good one.
That was the best time I stubbed my toe ever. Awesome.
Just to remind everybody, Trouba's at $8 million this year, $8 million next year.
I think that was Lockhead's question, Trouba's value.
There was another one I wanted to look at too. Well, yeah, Trocheck's at 5.6, so like negligible difference there between Kopp and Trocheck. But you've got a guy that, with a team that is struggling mightily to get some offense, a guy who can bring some more oomph, some more special teams oomph, and some more 5-on-5 oomph.
Speaking of unheralded Red Wings having big games today, besides Petrie and Sherrod, Kopp, he won like 3 straight offensive zone faceoffs. And the Flames just kept trying to, they just had to ice the puck because they were exhausted. And they kept having to lock it up again, and Kopp kept winning. He was dynamite on the draw today. So it was a little discouraging, I know, against the Islanders, who are pretty good at the face-off, but yeah, I want to make sure we kind of give the flowers when we can. I don't know if we're going to be able to say Kopp had a good game any more times this season, but tonight was one of those days.
Yeah, I'd still do Kopp for Trocheck right now, 1-for-1, straight up. Let's do it, Steve. Call him up.
Get him on the horn.
So some of the things we'd yet to discuss with some of the slides I put together. The Simon Edvinsson player card, Mike. This is fucking nuts. 92% WAR. There's only another 8% of NHL defensemen that are ranked higher than Simon Edvinsson. so far through his short career. The competition right up there, the same kind of numbers that you see with Cider, even though Cider's at
I
100%.
listen, he's been awesome. I think you can objectively see it. But I don't know if that competition has kind of helped cook the books on his sheet a little bit, just the way Lalone deploys him when his other options are, the usual suspects. So I don't know if
No,
that stat is kind of cooking the books a little bit.
but you're not the way that you're going to look at the competition he's faced is you're going to judge the rest of his player card, right? Like you're not going to say like, "Oh man, he always gets put out against the toughest guys on the other team." You're going to say, "Wow, his even strength defense is in the top 2% of the league despite also facing the other team's top competition."
Sure.
So that's how I would dissect that. So I think it just means even more for Edmondson that his assignments are so tough. But like today, I mean, we saw it. We know he's playing great hockey in the defensive zone. But how about where he's just wheeling around the offensive zone against Calgary and just trying to get his teammates open? And there's not a lot of 6'6" guys, Mike, that can carry the puck like that. And we'll actually have that wherewithal as well. It's like, oh, they're going to give me all this space. I'm just going to keep skating circles. That was one of those things where I was like, oh, wow, Edmondson looks like he's really starting to get a hang of this. Like he's at that point of the game. Edmondson was just sort of toying with what Calgary was attempting to put onto the ice in the defensive zone. I really, that question that Dixon put up earlier, I know we don't have to worry about it. And he said, would you go with Edmondson or Cider? I think ultimately right now, I just think we have to be so happy with, the outlook for the rest of the season is that there's one bright shining star that's really, he's maybe not bringing you out of your seat. I was going to say who's really bringing you out of your seat. He's not doing that, but he's doing everything so well, and he's bringing such a smart game to the ice that you are going to stay in your seat. You're going to get to relax because you're not going to have to worry too much.
What my dream with Soderblom was, with his giant 6'9" Ent Lord of the Rings Ent-sized body. I thought he could use it as just a defensive, apologies to Seattle, but a defensive Kraken out there. Simon can actually do it. And on offense, look, he's not there yet, right? Because this name, would get 80 points a season. There's shades where you can see this man turning into a Lidstrom. It's because he has that big shot. Like, he really does glide on the ice. He does make really smart plays. And it's kind of cool that I thought Cider was kind of, going to be the peak of Red Wing defenseman for the next couple seasons. But I could very easily see it being Simon. And, man, if Axel's really as good overseas as, he can bring that over here. Imagine Cider as your third D. Wild.
All right. So Dixon throws out there, I hear they call Simon tripod. All right. So,
wait.
All right. So
get that locker room talk out of here. Damn it,
do we know why that nickname gets used? I hope everybody knows.
You, Jared.
Yeah, Jared. Phrasing.
Also, Taupe Daddy, welcome. I don't think we've had Taupe Daddy before. How you doing, man?
Jim wants to know, do we beat the Devils and Canucks? I think going back to the original outlook for this month, I think I said that those were both losses. So I'm gonna be true to my word, stick with those couple of losses. It just if they do turn into wins, I think, my God, Mike, I think we could start to maybe turn our heads a little bit.
Don't you dare. Oh, we can start thinking about that wild card.
We're back in it, baby. We're back in it.
Back.
But if they're not, and just to remind everybody, after this week, this is when everybody kind of takes a look at where those playoff standings are at, and you can start to scratch in some of those names. You can work that pen a little bit harder on the piece of paper. You don't have to worry about erasing too many things. Now,
You know what
wild
else is
card
getting
wise,
harder is Red Wings fan club saying that the tripod Edmondson is like a baby's arm holding an apple.
Jesus.
Oh God. Um. Yeah, I think it's important that Jim here notes, Talbot and Line playing. You feel better about those games, but Huso, it makes me sad. He just looks like a broken man. He looks broken.
Dan B, give me that top 5 pick over wild card. Dan, I'm I
Dan,
kind of agree. There's a path right now, Mike, where you could get like I
with a
haven't done
comment
this
like that,
yet.
Dan, you could help form the Red Wings Rant tripod.
I haven't taken a look yet, but the Colorado Avalanche absolutely needs some goaltending right now. I might wave the flag on this whole season, but I haven't taken a look at like the Avalanche's like prospect rankings or who they have in their pool. But I'd be curious to take a look. What can we get back? Maybe grab a draft pick or two. But just thanks Talbot for a couple of weeks here. Get something juicy so Colorado can save their season, and then we'll be battling Montreal and Chicago and Nashville and Pittsburgh for that bottom spot.
So Matt, ready to start selling the team. Let's go. I do want Brian to I'm gonna wager that he's over the age of 35 because he used the phrase, I'll eat my hat. Brian, the last time I heard that, I said it. And nobody uses that phrase anymore, Brian. So he says his team can't win 4 in a row. If they do, he'll eat his hat. So we're all looking forward to that trending video of you having a hat with some barbecue sauce.
All right. This is one of our favorite types of shows, Mike. They start late. They're post games. Matt's ready for bed. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving.
Yes, I called it. Brian said, "I'm old." Got him.
Yeah.
Woo! Another
All
one.
right, Brian, right there with us. I think I'm ready to go to bed. I think this has been fun, guys.
Before we go, I do want to shout out Casey Zarnowski. Welcome. I don't think I've seen Casey in here either. Casey, welcome aboard. Said Red Wings are Detroit are 500. Time to celebrate. 3 wins from first, baby. And they said, yes, I'm coping.
Well, we still got to leapfrog Buffalo and Tampa or New York to get one of those juicy wild card spots.
Shout out to fellow tripod Dixon, last name Cider, saying, night boys, best pod.
Thanks, Dixon. But yeah, I'm gonna collapse here in a minute. I'm so goddamn tired. I've been up since 5. Those fucking kids.
Oh, man, he's gonna collapse like Larkin in a huge face-off and swipe this show closed. Let's go.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming aboard. We will see you actually in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna have to miss next week, but we'll see you guys, and hopefully, hey,
Tell
we'll
them
be
why,
on
man.
like an 8-game win streak. Nope, gotta
He's going
go.
to Disney
Nobody
World
knows
for the second time in a year.